Hi, friends and family. So I thought I'd come on here and vlog a little bit, but I wanted to do a little bit of a different vlog today because I know that I have vlogged quite a bit about just some of the tough parts of grief. And today I really wanted to talk to you about some of the things that I think I'm experiencing that are good in the healing process because I'm about 3.5, almost 4 months in to the process of grieving my twin sister Kara, who passed away in March. And I thought that today I would kind of share some of my observations about myself that might maybe be helpful for some of you who are also going through your own grieving process, and maybe you don't really see any light on the horizon, and yet at the same time there might be things happening for you that might actually be good and important to acknowledge on the journey. So I have I've had a pretty tough couple of months related to my twin sister's passing. This is probably the closest person to me who's passed away in my life thus far. And at the beginning, it was like losing my other half, like half of myself, or having this big, gigantic hole in my heart that she left. And I remember telling the Lord at the beginning, I was like, God, I feel like I'm missing part of myself, and I'm not sure what that looks like moving forward in my life. And the Lord made me a promise as I was sitting with Him one day. He said, Kelly, I'm going to fill that hole in your heart, and I will be with you here and always. I will never leave you alone. You will not walk alone through this life. And I say that because I came out of my mother's womb with my sister as well. You know what I mean? If you're an identical twin, there's two of you in the womb. And I I haven't known what it was like to live without an identical twin in the picture, without that other person who looked like me and went through many of the difficult circumstances that I experienced early on in life, such as facial reconstruction from needing to correct birth defects on the face and all the medical stuff we went through. And so the Lord had made me a promise in the spring that He would be with me, and it's been pretty rough. I have had a pretty intense grieving process, and I have kept my life very simple in terms of just concentrating on the things that I absolutely have to do with work, and then not really doing a lot of phone calls and a lot of technology outside of that, with the exception of vlogging because it's healing for me. You know, some people write. I am a writer, but I'm a talker, I'm a processor. And so for me, sometimes it's just easier just to speak into a camera on a video and just get out whatever is on the inside of me. So the last 2 days, I have been listening to counselors on YouTube and just kind of learning a little bit more about the grieving process and different stages, because the first 6 months is a little different, or the first year, or maybe 18 months later, as you go along, things are they move forward in different ways in terms of how you process the passing of a loved one. And so I was just learning a little bit. And I came across a man whose wife died of cancer back in the fall of 2023. And he was talking about being past the 18-month mark. And granted, this was a spouse he lost, I realize. But I had been listening to him, and I had been listening to another woman who was a counselor talk about how you can observe certain things about yourself that indicate that maybe you're moving through the grief in a very healthy way versus getting stuck, if that makes sense. And so I thought I'd talk about a couple of things that I've observed about myself in case that helps any of you, in case any of you are grieving. One is that my body, I've been getting a good sleep now, and I have for a while. And that has been really, really important. I've been getting at least 8 hours. Sometimes I'll grab a nap because my body has also been healing from some autoimmune conditions. And as I had said, I've been really focused on getting my health back after years of just a lot of struggle. And I'm getting a lot better. And I'm having a lot of victories in terms of my physical health. Feeling better. I can be on a laptop longer for work because I teach online. And I'm still getting a little bit swollen after I'm on the computer for a couple of hours. But the fact that I can be on for 3 or 4 hours before I have to take a break is wonderful because all of my work is online. I'm looking at students' documents, their papers, their dissertations, all kinds of stuff that's really long and very high level thinking. And so I'm really grateful that I'm having a lot more relief, and I'm actually starting to teach more, and I'm feeling a lot of joy in my teaching. So when I get up, I spend time with the Lord, and that always helps me to start my day. And then when I'm working, I've noticed I've really been having a lot of fun teaching because of the types of classes I'm teaching right now. I'm teaching people how to write at a doctoral level and scholarly writing. And I have been enjoying mentoring my students who are doing their dissertations. And I have just observed I've been having fun. And I'm not miserable because my body is feeling better. And I can almost hear my sister saying, "I'm so proud of you, Kelly. You go. You love on these students and you help them become everything that God has called them to be." So I've been enjoying that. I've been exercising. I've been going up and down hill in the neighborhood, and if I have some soreness or kind of have to start off slowly, that's okay. And then it's like my muscles are loosening up instead of having extreme muscle fatigue all the time. And it'll allow me to, my body is allowing me to move more easily and to actually pick up the pace and exercise and enjoy a nature walk, enjoy the birds and the pine trees and everything going on outside, with the exception of when it's raining. And we have had a lot of rain lately, so there is that. But it's been fun. I've been able to run more errands, get in the car with my husband and go places instead of having to come back and take naps all the time for hours on end. So even though I'm having these very difficult moments where I have grief that hits me like a freight train, and I just ugly cry for a few minutes, and sometimes a couple of times a day. Sometimes it just hits me when I least expect it. Thinking of my sister, I'll be smiling looking at her picture, and then at one particular moment, bam, oh, I miss her. And it hits me. But I'm allowing myself to breathe through it, which I think is what you have to do. I take a lot of deep breaths, and I'm just letting it happen, just letting the tears come. I pull up scriptures a lot because I'm really trying to keep my thoughts centered on what God wants me to understand. And ultimately, I know that Kara experiencing incredible things in heaven. And I think more of my grief has had a lot to do with my transition to it just being me and Jesus, not Kara in my life, and she's waiting for me and cheering me on, no doubt. And I can hear her saying, "I'm so proud of you, Kelly, go do it." But I have found myself starting to kind of recover from those really tough grief moments and kind of return to moments of relaxation or joy. And so it's been a pretty brutal couple of months, but I feel like as I was listening to that counselor and as I was listening to that gentleman who lost his wife and was further along than me in the grief process, I was thinking about, you know what? I mentioned the future. I'm thinking about the future. I'm doing things that are healthy. I eat wonderfully, and I do that anyway because I'm always trying to keep inflammation in my body low. I eat a very, very healthy diet. And I'm just, I think I'm just acknowledging that there are good moments in my day that I'm seeing. And that's helpful to recognize when the other moments I feel like I just want to curl up in a ball and cry and not get out of bed. But I am. It's just, sometimes the pain of grief is so intense that you wonder, are you ever going to stop hurting? And I have enough experience with at least other kinds of grief to know that ultimately there is no way to do it but to go through it. And when I was listening to a counselor, she was talking about relaxing into it, not trying to fix yourself, not trying to rush into it, but just to allow it to happen as it needs to and to go nice and easy and allowing yourself to grieve, and for me, allowing the Holy Spirit to meet me in that place and to save my little crushed heart, to put my little heart back together. So 3.5 months in, I'm definitely in intense grief, but I see signs of good things, and I keep thinking maybe I'll do a support group because I feel like I'm at a point where I can talk more about it with people who understand it. But I haven't quite figured out what's quite right for me because my dynamic was with an identical twin. And so I'm still trying to determine what the best avenue is for me because I also love writing and I also love talking to people one-on-one, but I just haven't quite figured out what the best way forward for me is because I feel like what I have experienced with Kara is very unique as an identical twin. And there is a support group actually for twins who have lost twins that I still might do. I just haven't quite decided. I thought about doing a support group earlier on, but I realized I just wasn't ready. I could hardly talk about Kara, and I could only handle about 15 minutes a day of even thinking about it before I'd have to shut it down and pick it up later because it was just too much. So I'm starting to get to a point where I'm more able to consider that. But I'm being very, I guess I'm just thinking through how I personally need to process things. And I honestly think vlogging like this is one of my best ways because I can just get it out immediately. I don't have to type, and I'm still resting my arms a lot from some muscle fatigue that I sometimes deal with. And so this is just an easier way to just talk it out and sort of process my grief and just process things through. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. I mean, I think it's just I feel encouraged tonight. I have cried multiple times today, so don't mistake my encouragement for that. But it's like I realize I can see signs of healing. And sometimes you need to hear what other people are experiencing in order to know that. And I have hope that God will bring me through this. And if any of you are struggling with deep grief right now, you've lost a loved one, I just want you to know that God is there. He won't let you go. And even though I'm on the other side of a video, I just want you to know that I love you and I'm praying for you. And I just pray that you would feel the comfort of Jesus, that you would open your heart and that you would let him just hold your heart and begin to put you back together again. I love you all and I bless you. Until next time.